I want to feel like I am so alive. Pay piggy, pay piggy, pay piggy. Don't make me go back to my 9 to 5. Pay piggy. I like that. Actually, that's okay. I'm kind of liking that. AIDS. It just ends with AIDS. Okay. Right there. Ooh, I like this. Pay piggy. Ooh, pay piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay piggy. Band-aids don't give you AIDS. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay piggy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pay piggy. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Pay piggy. Wage cock ain't no way to be alive. Pay piggy. Pay piggy. Don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Pay piggy. I want to feel like I am so alive. Pay piggy, pay piggy, pay piggy. Don't make me go back to my 9 to 5. Pay piggy. I like that. Actually, that's okay. I'm kind of liking that. AIDS. It just ends with AIDS. Okay. Right there. Ooh, I like this. Pay piggy. Ooh, pay piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay piggy. Band-aids don't give you AIDS. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay piggy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pay piggy. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Pay piggy. Wage cock ain't no way to be alive. Pay piggy. Pay piggy. Don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Pay piggy. I want to feel like I am so alive. Pay piggy, pay piggy, pay piggy. Don't make me go back to my 9 to 5. Pay piggy. I like that. Actually, that's okay. I'm kind of liking that. I don't understand. Why would anybody not know what's going on here? How long have I been doing the same shtick, the same jokes, the same nonsense? And every time it never fails. What is going on here? How is this person doing this? What does this mean? I don't understand the young people and the language they speak. It's like it's another tongue. It's a foreign language. We're going to have to get an interpreter in here because I'm a sensitive boomer person. And Jamie's just fanning incense around everywhere like she's a freaking little priestess. We're just running around doing her little rituals like a little priestess. And things are just going nuts. I just tell you what, I can't even. What is happening to the world? It's the millennials are losing it. It is the fault of the millennials and the zooms or whatever they're called. I'm a sensitive internet person, and I would like the internet to just be a little more down to earth, and people just need to stop the trolls, all of the trolls on the internet, and just the angry words coming out of everybody's mouths, and the loud music and the rock and roll, and the man on here trying to do his R&B single. So, honey, does this man think he's going to get a job as a singer? Huh. Only thing I can tell him is don't quit your day job. Okay? Don't quit your J job, whatever that is. Probably doesn't have a job. He's a grifter. I've seen the internet saying he was a grifter. Give me your money. Give me your awesome chats or whatever they're called. Good. Give me another awesome chat. I need another awesome chat. Pay Piggies is about right what he is. He's just up there pay piggying away or whatever he does, acting a fool. And I would never support such a man. Good grief, no. He doesn't have any class. He needs to take he needs to read an Emily Post book about etiquette. He should take a cotillion class or two. Learn how to holler with the best of them up there and sing the actual keys. He doesn't know the keys or the tones or nothing. You can support me via Super Chats as I transition out of my sensitive internet mom tone. Did nobody get notifications? Nobody wants to talk about frickin' techno gods of the techno-nihilist AEON? I thought that was an exciting title. Does that not sound exciting? Like what? And it's not going to be that crazy in the sense of the theme, the theology, the topic, the subject matter. It's going to be pretty down to earth because it's going to be really obvious. Thank you. You just keep everything nice and clean now. Scuttlebutt along. Scuttle along. Jamie doesn't like the sensitive mom voice telling her what to do. I'm a sensitive internet mom, and I'm here to bring peace, reconciliation, and love to the internet. And I want the pay piggying to stop, and I want people to just lay off of everybody. Just give everybody a breather for just a moment. And let's just take it in. I like that Deepak Chopra. He's up there. I don't know. He reminds me of a lot of them Shyamalan movies, and he just talks about so many nice spiritual things. Why can't you talk about those things? Why can't you talk about, what Deepak says? He is a nice internet man. Some of these people are not nice internet men. And I don't even know what a pay piggy even is. I don't want to know, honey. You can support the show by Super Chats via the Streamlabs. Streamlabs is another way to do Super Chats. You click the link that I have pasted a zillion times, and that the awesome mods have pasted a zillion times, and you leave a tip. So today we're going to talk about the transhumanist gospel, which is the gospel, the robot gospel of the elite, the tech elite, the Silicon Valley people, the Burning Man people. Burning Man is what you call anybody who tries to step to me, because afterwards, you got burnt. Oh, sick burn, dude. scuttle on off to Burning Man because you got burnt. And then today, yeah, we're just going to be talking about the Genesis narrative being vindicated via the tech elite fake promises. And I know I see a cute little profile in the chat right now called Slowboy Whiteboard, and he's cute, double cute, because he is my whiteboard and is my face. And we're gonna be going to a couple clips and a couple mini docs that our friend Slowboy Whiteboard uploaded. I like Slowboy. We have a bunch of clips channels. My progeny, my children's have exploded in the sense of clips channels. There's about 5-10 clips channels now. I love all my clips children's with equal love, where it's an egalitarian love here. But I really enjoy these little clips, not just of me, but also of the Silicon Valley elites and the DARPA and the tech stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And again, more vindications, more lectures, more videos, more stuff that has come out vindicating the analysis that you have heard from me for so many years. We lectured through the entirety of Annie Jacobson's 500-600 page, right, DARPA history, the Pentagon's brain. I lectured through that whole book. I read that whole thing. We lectured all the way through frickin' Alex Abea's book on the Rand Corporation. And that was also several hundred pages. And you see what I do? I do your homework for you. I do your homework. People call me a grifter. I'm a homework grifter. What's your grift? Call me Professor Grift. What's my grift? I do your homework. And that's actually not really a grift, is it? I mean, grifting is like where you don't believe in your thing. I mean, does anybody think that I'm not reading these books? I mean, how well? I just stick the sticky notes in all the books for fun. Come on now. Come on, son. You know this is a legit homework operation we got going here. Doing your homework for you. And I figured out a niche where people don't have time to read these gigantic, boring books. I do. So you pay me to do your homework. Why is that? How is that even a grift, dude? Does anybody know what happens at a university? The university is a grift because you get brainwashed by a bunch of granola worshiping, granola snorting, ponytail weirdos, and you pay them like $100,000 a year or some crazy amount to get like grad degrees, right? That's the grift, dummy. All I did was take all the same information in a better way and democratize it, decentralize it. I'm like a living decentralized blockchain of homework that I do for you. I'm the nerd that does your homework and you pay me money to do it. That's it. How is that a grift? It's not even a grift, dummy. Because even if I didn't believe any of the stuff that I was talking about, I'm still giving you the information. So it's like, it's not even a grift then, right? Even if I didn't believe any of this stuff, it wouldn't be a grift. But that's the new sort of narrative, is that anyone who talks about these topics is just everyone is a grifter. It's just like, well, everyone is a shill, everyone is a grifter. It's like, I mean, dude, I've been here talking about this for 15, 20 years. How am I a grifter when I've had the same analysis of geopolitics, transhumanism, all of these domains for 20 years? Now, I have taken different theological views, so I've changed my mind, theologically speaking, a couple times, but this don't make no sense for grifting. That's just ridiculous, right? People, I mean, it's all idiots too. Like, people have no knowledge of any of these topics. The guy that read one Bertrand Russell book and decided that he would expose me. And then I'm glad he did that, because when he did that, that inspired me to go do the shows that now got, that show got, it's so hard to hit 1 million, right? That show got total of 700,000 views, right? So, I mean, if y'all don't know, we're getting a lot of views nowadays. So let me show you what that day was. So we go back here. No, it's not that day. And I hope everybody got to see these because they came out really good. I did 2 in a row, right? So the first one was scientific elite plan to kill everybody. And what do you know? Look at that. 292,000. Nice. And that was 9 days ago. And then that, so there's 2 versions of this if you don't know over here. The other show, the full show, got 500,000, I think, or 400,000. And I'm only doing this because, like, we work so hard for so many years. I mean, I've done at least 1,000 videos and podcasts. I've written hundreds of articles. And to call me a grifter after, like, all of the, like, 15 years of working and doing this. So let's see what day that was. Oh, look at that. So that day got 500,000 views. But my show that day, I don't think it did that good. I think it only got 14,000. But this day, Alex's full show had 400,000 or 500,000. And then this show, this day, Alex's version had 400,000 or 500,000, right? So that's the full show with my last hour gets that many views just here. That's not counting anywhere else it goes out on the internet, just here at battleplan.news. So I'm only saying this to tell you guys that, like, we are blessed to have, like, a huge effect now. This is great. And I mean, I'm just so thankful to have these outlets, to have that opportunity, to be able to speak to such a wide audience. So the extent of the reach is not what we have here at YouTube, right? It's not just, what are we at? 88,000 followers. So we're almost to 90, and then short way to 100. We may have a pre-party, a pre-100,000 party, a 90 party, right? And then we'll have a super party for 100,000. We'll try to get all the old classics back on, right? We'll have, like, I don't know, Tristana, beautiful Tristana. We'll have a couple other people on. But yeah, there we go. Again, I mean, if you come with a hate, if you come with a bunch of nonsense, I'm just going to delete you. I mean, I never called these people quick shills, so I don't know where you're getting that. Other people might have said that, but I never said that. So yeah, we're not far. You know, even being sort of in an algorithmic uphill battle, right? We're still doing okay, right? I think we would have had a lot more of a subscriber base had we not been in this uphill battle. But even still, and I don't even think the numbers are accurate. Remember, because I showed you guys, like, the public numbers were still 11 million views. And then inside my YouTube, it says congratulations on 15 million. So, like, they quit publicly tabulating the views, I guess, I don't know when, 4 million views ago. See right there? Says, good job. Achievement unlocked. Here's 2 googly eyes. 2 weeks ago, you unlocked 15 million views. Oh, thank you. 15 million views. And then publicly, it says, and has always said for years, 11 million views. Okay. So, yeah, something is not accurate here. And I think, yeah, I mean, if we're getting over there, you know, each show, at least, that's not even counting the radio audience, right? So the radio audience is this whole other thing. I don't know how many people hear the 4th hour radio wise. Not as many as hear the first 3, I'm sure, but I'm sure some stations have his 4th hour, because it comes up on the GCN thing for the 4th hour. But I mean, to be able to hit and get 600, 700, 800,000. We had one video that went over 1 million. I got 1.2 million. There we go. It's just, I'm happy to be here. I'm so thankful, and honestly didn't really think we would get here because of all the censorship, right? I thought, oh, this will be gone. Like,
But that's why you got to be over on Rockfin, because of course at any moment it could end, right? We may not be here. And just one little last bit of housekeeping update. I did end Patreon. Now, Patreon was not like zillions of dollars, but I'm like, you know what? I mean, Patreon patronizes people, and eventually, obviously, I think that will go away too. And I don't really agree with Patreon's Silicon Valley values. Now, Patreon never did anything to me or booted me or anything like that, because it wasn't really that much. I mean, it wasn't huge. It was a nice little side income. But then I realized, well, why am I even over on Patreon? I mean, it's actually a hassle anyway. And the main reason I was doing Patreon 4 years ago is because we used to do tutoring, right? So when we did tutoring, Patreon was helpful because it was kind of like, okay, here's $100 if you want to sign up for tutoring. The audience grew right to where we couldn't sustain tutoring. It was just too much. There's too many people requiring tutoring. So I had to move out of that model. But I still kept the Patreon and kept it, updated at least once a month with all the new content that month, both for the subscribers and for whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Just Rockfin has been so great. They've been such a key ally, and they've been such big promoters of my stuff and my work. And everybody over there has been super cool. All the Rockfin guys, that I'm like, I'm just going to leave Patreon. Forget this. And I would much rather put my time and effort and money into a platform that supports free speech and creators and doesn't constantly try to screw the creators over. Because you remember, a lot of platforms, they let everybody come on, the platform gets built up, and then they screw all the creators over. So they feed off of the energy of all of the people and the creativity and the insight and the decentralized nature of what's able to build it. Then they flip the switch and screw everybody over and just start banning and deleting, and it turns into something else. I mean, this has happened numerous times in terms of big tech, Silicon Valley stuff. And that's part of the problem of the libertarian ethos, which we've criticized for a long time, which is that, Silicon Valley uses the energy of entrepreneurs and creative people and all this, and then it sucks all that in like a giant black hole and then flips the switch and screws everybody over. And they've been doing that for a long time. And so what I appreciate about Rockfin is that is not their platform. They began as a platform for mixed martial arts. And then they said, we need to expand because there's going to be a lot of people and audience for content creation committed to free speech. All right. And so they've been consistent in that, right? I don't know how long Rockfin's been around, maybe a few years. And so I haven't even been on there a year yet, right? And we've already hit almost 27,000, almost to 30,000 followers over on Rockfin. And so it's just been great, right? I mean, they've been A+ in every way. No screwing over, no jibber jabber, nothing. It's all been excellent. So I want to encourage everybody to sign up over on right now. It's free to sign up, and just like here, you get a lot of stuff free. And their whole model is, if you sign up for the paid subscription, it's like Netflix basically, and then you get access to everybody's premium content. So it's a genius model because the creators aren't competing against one another, because everybody benefits from people joining Rockfin's community. And you can also super chat. And now they're adding the feature for crypto wallet. And they're a very forward thinking company. So they had this genius model of how everybody on the platform could benefit, not compete against each other, and yet still be able to stand out and make, their own merit-based income their way from their audience and their fan base. And it's just, that's genius, right? Because other platforms are centered around like one guy wants to destroy everybody else and take their audience. I don't have to worry about that on Rockfin, right? I mean, it's not a concern because I'm not really competing against the other people on Rockfin, because every time somebody joins, it's a benefit to the whole network, to the whole community. And it's just, this is a genius model. It's forward thinking. And their whole ethos is not screwing over the creators. So I would really, really implore you to go over there. Now, in the last several months, they have like ballooned up in terms of like blown up more people coming on, right? So when I came on almost a year ago, maybe 10 months, there was a lot less creators that are on there now. Now there's like so many I can't even really keep up. So if you like Jimmy Dore, if you like Sam Tripoli, if you like Brian Callen, if you like Whitney Webb, if you like Horvey's over there now, geopolitics stuff. If you like, he just had Jim Brewer on. That was pretty awesome. He just had Alex on. That was pretty awesome. You got Burmis over there. Burmis is turning it out, dude. And he puts out good news analysis like every day. Again, Richard Grove putting up these based 6-hour podcasts, giving you like a full on, like I do, right? Like a master's degree in geopolitics. There's a couple people over here I do not like, but that's what, that's fine with me. They can have whoever they want on there, I guess. But yeah, you've got, and somebody was like, the other day was like, why are you on a commie company? Commie company? Wait, there's like half the people on here are libertarians. What are you even talking about? Doesn't even make any sense. Commie company. It's a private company. It's a corp. They make a profit, or they pay their creators. It doesn't make any sense. Commie companies are like the big tech ones. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, but they got Slow News Day, which is pretty based and hype. They got a really good news analysis. They got Tristan, Brother Augustine, David Patrick Harry over there now. So they've expanded to other Orthodox content creators. And I was really pushing to get more, because we want more Orthodox people on this platform. We don't want it dominated by, one type of community, so to speak, right? So the more Orthodox people get over here, the better. But it is an interesting, positive masculine mix here, because a lot of this stuff is MMA stuff, and they've sort of expanded their comedy domain as well. So not a huge follower of Graham Elwood, but he's a fairly big name. There's Chrissy Mayer has her podcast here now. Who else is over here? So basically, they're getting new creators every day, is what I'm trying to say. And you got these sort of thin glasses news women style thing. If you're into gigantic thin glasses news women, they have those. There's like, I think there's a few of these. So look, what else could you ask for, right? I mean, look at all these cool people here. Michael Tracy's over there now. Forgot about Michael Tracy. Abby Martin is over there now. I don't know how she's been putting up more recent stuff. I don't think Lauren Southern puts up much stuff here. Let's see who else is over there. Anyway, you get the idea. So, and they've been in talks to get the content of some big name people. Big names. So, but whether that will happen, I don't know. But so anyway, I really love that platform. And again, I can never promote Rockfin enough. So please head on over to Rockfin. That's definitely where you want to be. And I think that when it comes to alt tech platforms, it's very difficult to get people to move there, because I don't know why. People are lazy. They don't want to do it. I put a lot of time and effort into Rockfin and promoting that and moving people there, trying to get people to do that. So the more people complain about big tech, if you're not going to the alt tech platforms, what do you expect, right? So please, I implore you, move over there. And you don't have to pay the thing. Like, you can set up a free account, access the free stuff, and if you want the premium content, you can do well. And if you subscribe to my website, yeah, I mean, it's no different. Nothing's changing for the website. The website's not going away. None of the subscriber content ultimately is different. There's a little bit of a different model between what happens on Rockfin and what happens on the website. Ultimately, people get to see both, though. So You're not getting cheated. You're not getting screwed out of anything. But I do give the Rockfin audience a specific exposure to stuff ahead of time, exclusive stuff, etc. So there's perks to, both ways, but yeah, I mean, if we could get people over on these platforms, right, there wouldn't be as much of a problem when it comes to tech censorship. So let's get to today's discussion. We want to talk about the transhumanist gospel in Genesis and how Genesis really told us the explanation of the problem of evil, the explanation of Satan's lie in every century, in every millennium, in every millennium. And the lie doesn't change. It's the same thing. You will be God. You will be your own God. You will be a God. You will decide for yourself good and evil. And is it true? Well, no, it's not. It's always a lie, right? He doesn't deliver on his promises. He's the confidence man, right? That's a classic Melville novel, right? Which everybody forgets. The Confidence Man. And so Satan's like the ultimate con man, you see. Oh, you see, let me sell you this. Let me send you a sales pitch. And the sales pitch is this. The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and he put man whom he had formed there. And out of the ground the Lord made every tree to grow that is pleasant in the sight of good food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river went out from Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 river heads. The name of the first is Pishon, which is the outskirts of the land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and the onyx stone are there. The name of the second is Gihon. It is the one which goes around the land of Cush. And the name of that river is Hiddekel. It is the one which goes towards the east of Assyria. The fourth is the Euphrates. The Lord put man in the garden to tend and to keep it. Of every tree you may eat, except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. From the day that you eat of it, you will die. So we have the original commandment, the original covenant with Adam. The covenant comes with stipulations. The stipulations are covenant blessings if you obey. He would have obtained immortality. The process of theosis would have begun there. The incarnation would have also still occurred in the Orthodox view. But if there's disobedience, there's what's called covenant curses. Covenant curses are the chastisement, the penalties for disobeying the covenant laws and stipulations. God then creates Eve for Adam. And then we're going to skip down to chapter 3. Now the serpent was more cunning than all the beasts of the field, which the Lord God made.
The funny thing about the serpent, how does a serpent talk? How does a serpent walk? Well, the funny thing about a serpent is, how does a serpent walk? A serpent doesn't have legs.
Right. The Hillsdale College professor. I can't look at this chapter anymore without thinking of that goober and his pseudo wisdom.
How does a serpent talk? How does when a serpent's he crawls on his legs?
I mean, it's like, this is before the fall, dummy, and it's not a snake. It's an angel in the form of a serpent. It's not a freaking snake, dummy. So the first thing that the serpent does is he does not go to the authority, the covenantal head, the man. He goes to the woman. So he subverts the order of authority. And this is also interesting because there's a twofold problem here. Number one, Adam apparently was not on the lookout, right? So he'd already begun to slip, it appears. Like he should have been on the lookout. He should have stepped up to the plate here and be like, hey, you don't talk to her. If you want to, you want to have a talk, you come to me. Right? You come to me, Snakey. Don't go to her. But that's not what happened. The serpent subverts the authority and goes to the woman and introduces what? A seed of doubt. Wait, did he really say that? So now it becomes a matter of interpretation, right? I mean, come on, man. Is it really literally, did he really literally like say that or whatever? Or like maybe it means something else. Did he really say that? Is that literally what it means? Right? God said the day that you eat of it, and the woman says, well, we can eat of anything, but not that tree because my allergies are driving me crazy. We went for a long walk and the pollen boy is out. He's attacking with guerrilla warfare today. Oh, man. We may eat of all the trees except that free trees. Eat of all the free trees. We may eat of all the trees. The food trucks of Eden. We may eat of all the trees except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God said, in the day that you eat of it or touch it, you will die. So Eve restates to the tempter the correct, right, covenant stipulation. She quotes the word of God, accurately rebukes essentially Satan. So she's still obedient at this point and she's being faithful. And the serpent tries again to introduce another more bold line of doubt. You're not going to die. God knows that only in the day that you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you'll be like him. God's trying to keep you down. He's an oppressor, right? Here you have the oppressor, oppressed mythology. The Saul Alinsky ethos, right? Remember Saul Alinsky says that he dedicated his book to Satan. My nose is itching like crazy, bro. I gotta get all the little cocaine dust out from underneath my nose. I had cocaine for breakfast. Got cocaine on my nose. So the day that you eat of it, you will die. Not really. You won't die. You'll just become a god, bro. You'll become a god, bro. The day when I did DMT, I realized I was a god or whatever. Like, I can't pay my rent. I don't even take the trash out or whatever. I'm in goblin mode, but I'm a god. When I did DMT, I realized I was a god. Could you help me pay my rent? Can I borrow like $50 or whatever? You're a god, but you're in goblin mode. Maybe you're a goblin god. So you see then that the lie is like ramped up. So he ramps it up. Literally now just goes for full on bold. Like, no, he didn't say that, right? That's not really what's going on. You're not going to die. The man is trying to keep you down. Let's start a revolution. The Edenic, right? Humans of Eden. Humans of the world unite, which is only two. Two of the humans unite against the oppressor, against the capitalist deity. Humans of the world unite. So he tries to set up this Marxist revolution, the revolt against God, promising that they would achieve apotheosis. This is the key. God doesn't want you to become a god. He's scared of you. He knows deep down. He's scheming to keep you down because he knows that if you see these things, you will achieve equality with God. You'll know good and evil. You'll be in his position, and he is just jealous and rude and cruel and doesn't want anybody else to be in his position. He's a tyrant, you see. So the devil, because he had already fallen, right? The testing of the angels had already occurred. He had fallen, and now he wants to drag man down because, as we know in the Orthodox view, the devil was envious from the beginning. He didn't like the idea that man would be exalted, that the Logos would become man. Right? So man doesn't deserve that. I deserve that. Not that thing. Right? That thing is a ball of meat, a meat sack. Meat sacks don't deserve that. I do. Right? And then when they eat, they find out, we got lied to. We got sold a dang lemon, dude. We got sold a bunch of jibber jabber. We got conned. So the devil is the first con man. And then they have their eyes opened and they know that they are naked. And then thus man becomes death. Right? Now, what's interesting, the reason we went through that was that this, to me, is just so obvious, right? What is the lie of today? The exact same thing. It's only dressed up in different trappings of technology. It's the exact same thing. And we're going to see that in these excellent clips that our friend Slowboy Whiteboard has collected. And this will just be further vindication too of the information that we did. It's already been like 4 or 5 years that we lectured, 4 years maybe, 3, 4, that we lectured through the entire history of DARPA, that we lectured through the entire transhumanist document from the UK government. Do you understand that? Like, we go read these white papers, we read these 100-page books. I've read probably a few thousand pages on these topics from the top sources. I'm just talking about just on transhumanism. Okay, I'm not talking about all the other stuff. I've read thousands and thousands of pages of global elite texts, which we have been lecturing through for years now. Has it been 7 years? I think we did we started the Quigley stuff, Quigley lectures back in 2015, 16. So 6, 7 years, right? And we've gone through 56, almost 60 something global elite texts. And eventually, Lord willing, right, we'll eventually get up to 100 probably. Right? So hope it would be awesome to be able to just say, round number, I have lectured through 100 writings of the elite. And then the people will still just gaslight. No, you haven't. That doesn't exist. No, you don't. You have not. There's no such thing. Right? They'll still do that. So let's see this first one. This is DARPA, Smart Dust, right? That's what I was snorting this morning. How does he do it? How does he do that? I snort the Smart Dust, aka cocaine. Snort that cocaine in the morning, dog. Cocaine for breakfast, Smart Dust. How does he do it? Smart Dust. What is Smart Dust? Nanotech. Let's look at this. Big part of a lot of these texts. And thank you to Slowboy Whiteboard for finding these cool videos.
There was a new O-level.
Don't you hate corporate royalty-free music? I hate it. It's like a ukulele or some other unknown fake and gray instrument. I mean, ukuleles are pretty fake and gray, right?
I play the ukulele. How dare you say that?
But the corporate ads love this crap, dude. I don't know why. It's the worst.
Called computing science, and nobody knew what computer science was. So the maths teacher put a piece.
I think it's supposed to convey like light bulbs going off.
I'm smart. I'm learning things. I'm figuring the world out. I'm going to create a perfect utopia out of corporation.
I keep having to self-censor myself. I can't say the things that come to my mind. I can't say what I want to say. But I mean, this faceless corporate art together. Oh, I had an idea the other day of a skit. I was going to do a skit of what it would be like to be in the corporate dimension. And it would just be corporate music, the fake corporate and the faceless people. That's actually a good idea for a skit.
Code up on the board.
The corporate world dimension. Right. What if you lived in a corporate ad and that was like the dimension that you lived in? There's a skit there. There's a skit in that.
Told the class to change it, to do something completely different. And within seconds, I was lucky enough to be able to do it. And that was it. I was hooked. I'm Julie McCann. I'm a professor at Imperial College, the Department of Computing. I'm curious about future computer systems and how they're able to adapt to their environments. My approach is to be inspired by biology and nature and the tricks that those systems do and bring that into computer systems.
Well, I've actually talked about this for a long time. That's what DARPA does, is study nature to try to perfect nature, right? It's the old alchemist thing of perfecting nature, the great work. And we saw that for years with Regina Dugan, with all these different DARPA Google people who, by the way, went to Bilderberg and then talked about utilizing and studying nature to figure out how to tweak and fix the tech to fix nature. And this is why they think it will be the path to immortality and godhood. And they believe this.
There's a number of trends that are happening in technology at the moment. Sensors are shrinking in size. At the same time, we can do...
Male sensors are shrinking in size too. And the same people that are at the Imperial College of London behind all the world's psyops and deception and lies and the transhumanist jibber jabber, they also intentionally are shrinking the male sensors, if you know what I mean, intentionally.
A lot with wireless communications, and all this is coming together to build these tiny systems that can play a massive role in...
Listen to this horrible corporate music, like trying to sell this, and people buy this too. Oh, it's going to be so great. They're going to give me Phoebe wobbles. Give me wobbles. I'm going to give me wobbles. I don't even know what wobbles are, but if you're British, just say these kinds of words, and that's what it means, right? You just intuitively sense what this word is intended to mean. Oh, get me wobbles. Oh, to get me wobbles off. The Imperial College of London is like the eye of the pyramid, dude. That's like illuminate, confirm. And just to see it with this sicky, sweet corporate music is revolting. This music is revolting. Every time I hear this kind of a thing in an ad, I think, I already know what's coming, right? And now this isn't even an ad. It's like straight up death cult serenading you with revolting corporate music.
We're miniaturizing these systems further and further, and what we have at the moment are systems that can be miniaturized in the near future to around the size of a penny, but the aim is ultimately to bring these down to the size of dust. So imagine...
Right, so the aim is to make smart dust. Nanotech smart dust. Oh, they want to fix this. They're going to fix me wibble wobble. I was born with a broken wibby wobble, and the people at Dyer want to fix it for me. They're really nice. They love me. They want to fix me wibby wobble. Motorised rolling arms. Motorised rolling arms. Jamie. Motorised rolling arms. The people at Dyer, they gave us the motorised rolling arm. But they can't fix me teeth. The people at Dyer love me, but they gave me a wibby wobble tooth. I've got me a rebel tooth. But one day they'll fix it with the nano dust. They'll put nano dust in my teeth, and my teeth will self-arrange. Self-arranging nano teeth.
Our near future, where we've got these sensors implanted in the environment, we've got a problem ahead of us. If they start to communicate with each other, we're bound to hit a boundary quite soon. And we know this is the Shannon capacity. This is the uppermost capacity for a given space that one can communicate wirelessly in. This has implications for industry in the sense that hit that boundary, basically the communication systems fail. So this is where our research comes in. A lot of the work that we do is borrowed from nature in the sense it's bio-inspired. Bees and...
She reminds me of Laura Dern's mom in the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man. Remember when she comes out, she's got all her bee crap, and she puts on her bee thing. Right? She's like the head witch of the island, coming after Nick Cage, right? Remember that? By the way, I did a whole analysis of Wicker Man in the Nick Cage voice. So if you ever wanted to hear Nicolas Cage break down Wicker Man, I did that for you. You're welcome.
Since it's bio-inspired, bees and creatures like...
Not the bees! Not the bees!
Do not have much processing power individually, but they form an intelligent network. We're building these tiny little devices, and...
So you notice they're modeling it on nature, right? Nature's not designed, by the way. There's no such thing as purpose in nature, but we're studying the purpose of systems in nature to perfect them to create our transhumanist systems.
These little devices consist of sensing capabilities. They also have processing power, and they're able to communicate with each other wirelessly. In sensor networks, we communicate via multi-hop. That is, the communication sends the data across the network, hopping across the devices in that network. That means more systems can speak at the same time, which means we don't have to worry so much about the Shannon capacity problem.
So, there was a one DARPA video where they're talking about dragonflies and modeling drones on dragonflies. This was talking about communication networks modeled on bees, and that's what they do. Remember the Tom Coombs glove that he climbed the Dubai building with for Mission Impossible? That's a real thing, and that was, I think, a DARPA invention modeled on frogs, frog hands. Little Pepe's High Five is the model. And the only reason I say all that is just to point out that the whole thing is like a Baconian model of fixing nature. It's all modeled on what nature does, but perfecting nature, which is the alchemist's goal.
Taking the trend of multi-hop further, in the next 5 years, I can imagine in city environments, your mobile phone being used.
Maybe she's just a weirdo that collects bugs. Like she has the biggest bug collection. It's like, this here's me bugs. Oh, look me bugs. Sometimes I like to sleep with them. I lay a few of the bugs under me pillow, and I just sort of lay there. And the bugs, I communicate. I channel the bees. I channel them. The queen bees who I channel. It is kind of like channeling, right? She's like talking about communicating to the bees, the way the bees communicate. This is like Wicker Man, dude. I'm just realizing we live on the island. Where is Nick Cage? Nick Cage should come and save us from this woman, you see. Remember that? By the way, the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man is actually fun. Like, how could you not like that movie? Everybody said, oh, that movie is terrible. Or, excuse me? Excuse me? Would you like me to slap you across the face? Big Willie style? Ha ha! Right? Wicker Man is terrible? Are we describing the same movie? Excuse me?
To relay data across the city itself, so the data will be hopping through your phone and you won't even notice it. That means that your phone can actually be a means of making money for you. What I imagine that this will take in the next 10 years' time is that we will not necessarily communicate all the data back to some sort of central area. What we'll do is process out on the edge.
Good grief, you look at that bug. Look at that huge ass bug. What's DARPA doing over there? It's a giant freaking, that's a 6-pound flea right there. What the heck?
Now that means that we'll start to push the processing out to these small devices. If we go out to beyond 20 years, we can imagine with miniaturization and the advances in nanotech technology that we can bring these systems down to dust. And if we bring them down to dust, we can get them to monitor environments, but we can also get them to collect.
So in other words, monitor environments. In other words, total surveillance. Okay. I mean, this woman doesn't seem insane. Does she genuinely believe that the people that she's working for are good people? And how do you be this naive, right? How because she obviously doesn't seem like a person who's malicious, right? But does she actually think that the people who run the stuff in the Imperial War College of London are gonna help humanity? I mean, I just don't. It's baffling, really, to me. Like, what does this woman think is going to be done with this technology?
Collaborate to form maybe even solid objects to help her.
Look at she's like dancing around like some happy wine mom, or like, oh, it's going to be great. The bees are save it all. The bees. It's like you're building a hell world, right? You're building Pinhead world, and you're like dancing around with your Swatch watch, prancing around like it's a freaking tampon commercial in your backyard bee farm.
I imagine our notion of the cloud will be completely changed. It will no longer consist of single big computing systems. It'll be much more distributed and very much decentralized. So the future is small, low cost, and low powered.
What a bunch of baloney, dude. What a bunch of nonsense. Can you believe that? Imagine believing all that, right? So the future's going to be bright. It's going to be great. We'll all be prancing around in our bee fields. We'll all be filled with the nanotech. It's going to be great. It'll be awesome. It'll be wonderful. Meanwhile, it's like hell world. Like Pinhead will be walking out of portals. We have such sights to show you. She's like, it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. I love the bees. The world will be turned into the island that Nicolas Cage goes to, and run by a bunch of witches. She's probably a witch, right? She's not actually like a sweet, innocent. What's the word for Irish? Lass. She's not a sweet, innocent Irish girl. She's a freaking hell world witch straight out of Suspiria, right? Can somebody link one of the great mods? Would you guys mind linking my Nicolas Cage analysis of Wicker Man? I felt like that video just didn't get the props it deserved. It was so fun to do, and to do an entire video in the voice of Nick Cage analyzing Wicker Man. And it was, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 views. Come on now. That's actually a good idea, right? I mean, Nicolas Cage breaking down Wicker Man. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, see people in the audience. They're demanding it. Mods, give us this video. Nicolas Cage, Wicker Man, Jay Dyer. There it is. It's right there. All right. Next, we're going to move to Neil deGrasse McTyson Chicken talking about, I don't know what, because I haven't actually seen this video, but I watched clips. I skipped around. I was like, all right, we gotta do a talk on this, because this whole thing is what I'm talking about, right? So there we had, she's not a cat woman. She's a bee lady, right? Bug lady over there with her bug lovers, because she's not married. Bugging out. And then now we're going to talk to the Science Men, and they're going to promise us the immortality and the future salvation through the tech. This webpage is using too much memory. Well, oh well. And then we got another little video after that. It's going to also demonstrate the centralized control of the world through select few tiny group of corporations. And we had talked about that last week when I found the Swedish study, the TED Talk, right? It's not the TED Talk. I might do a little bit from that TED Talk, but let's see what old Neil is talking about over here in terms of DARPA transhumanist stuff. So let's see.
We will have nanobots that we can feed into our brain that directly connect to the cloud.
We will connect wirelessly our neocortex.
So that ties into the video we just watched, the nano dust. And then here's Ray Kurzweil and Neil deGrasse McTyson talking about connecting directly to the cloud via your mind. And I covered this in Ray's books, right? It's in both of his books where he talks about the metaverse and virtual reality being in between you and the external world, right? Total mind control.
This will replace the internet. It'll become a brain net.
And the whole agenda is for humanity.
Humanity. Cheetah Ori. Humanity. Cheetah Ori.
Nanotech
Nano.
will connect the human mind to the cloud.
In a way, the future shapes the now. Think of a world where all things are connected, a world with artificial intelligence everywhere. This is the vision that leads us to the cloud. The cloud has become a force of its own.
A group of scientists say we are closer than ever to creating technology which can merge with human biology in order to access the cloud in real time.
They mentioned something called deep learning, where the CIA is getting technology from Amazon. The company has signed a $600 million deal with the CIA, and Daily Finance reports it doesn't have anything to do with buying books.
Yeah, I mean, I heard people this week talking about how, oh, the Amazon was built by Jeff Bezos and his intelligence, and he worked really hard, he pulled himself up by his bootstrap. Dude, no, it's not. What are you talking about? None of those big tech companies were just built by sweat of the elbow, like pulling themselves. It's CIA companies, In-Q-Tel. Those are created, funded by tax-free military industrial complex corporations. Who actually believes that Tesla, Facebook, Amazon are free market grassroots corporations that tech nerds slapped away at keyboards and it just came about? I mean, come on, dude. Seriously? It's public knowledge that these companies were seeded with CIA money and they're given government tax breaks. That's why they dominate. Who doesn't know this? I mean, it's like people are so naive that they believe the real stories behind these megacorps.
Amazon will help the agency build a
megacorp created, forged in the furnace of virtue. Megacorp, the righteous indignation of Megacorp against all lie. Come on, dude. Megacorp forged in the furnace of brow sweat and virtue. Who believes that?
private cloud infrastructure to keep up with emerging technologies.
This deal would be a game changer for both the CIA and Amazon. Bloomberg reports the pairing would innovate new uses for cloud technology.
This level of technology could include brain-to-brain interfaces, brain-to-computer interfaces, and specifically brain-to-cloud interfaces. Technology linking the brain to the cloud could drastically alter the state of communications between humans and machines. The senior author of the study noted that once inside the brain, the devices would then wirelessly transmit encoded information to and from a cloud-based supercomputer network for real-time brain state.
Can you believe how many people are going to do this and they think I mean, it's sad, really. Like, so many people. That's why we're past the point, y'all. I'm telling you, we're past the point where there's just don't even talk to the normies anymore. It's over, dude. It's like, move on, bro. Run for the hills. Prepare for the collapse. Like, you're not gonna wake. They're at the point when it was like 2 years ago. It was like that was it. No more waking up, normies. Just give it up. Move on. Get to the bunker, dude. Like, you're not gonna wake these people up. And everybody saw the shift from the last 2 years of COOF to the new thing, and there was a seamless transition from COOF to the new thing, and everybody buying it. Not everybody, but the people buying it hook, line, sinker. Just move on, man. There's no point in trying to. The people that have bought into this to this degree and this level, they're not going to change. They're not going to. There's no. You would be your time and energy and efforts would be better put elsewhere, is what I'm trying to say. And there does come a time when it is that, right? Now, you don't have to listen to me. If you want to go butt your head against the rocks, you can all you want and try to. But I mean, people have lost their mind, basically. And the people that have lost their mind are subject to new influences and new delusions and new spiritual powers, and they will go wholeheartedly into this. And that's what they want. And they're not going to change their minds. Right? Typically, I'm saying it generally speaking. Now, if somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, I'm open-minded now, and maybe there is something crazy going on and all, then yes, it would be beneficial. But like normies, expiration date is up, bro. Like, expiration date, that happened like 3 years ago. Like, expiration date over.
Monitoring and data extraction.
Essentially, the CIA is attempting to use artificial intelligence, AI, and that's where all the focus, by the way, of these tech companies is right now, is into artificial intelligence.
I think Ben Swan's trying to compete with my hair. Like, he's like trying to get it higher and higher, because he sees the comments on the internet talking about how clearly my hair is the best. But, you know, he wants to get up in this hair game. Okay, let's do it. You want to play a little hair game? You want to try to get higher? You want to compete with my hair? Bring it on, Ben Swan.
To really control the population. And I know it sounds so Orwellian, it sounds science fiction even to say these things, and yet that has been the primary focus of companies like Amazon over the last few years.
This deal would be a game changer for both the CIA and Amazon. Bloomberg reports the pairing would innovate new uses for cloud technology.
It refers to using the cloud computing technology in a company's own data center
Because you know Amazon is better known for these public clouds where the hardware is shared with other users.
The CIA has refused to comment on the deal, saying it doesn't publicly disclose details on its contracts. Amazon wouldn't talk either, and CNET's Charles Cooper says neither party probably ever will. Given how Amazon usually considers everything, including the state of the current weather in Seattle, as something of a state secret, odds are we'll never hear much more.
I became a security specialist for SIS, specializing in executive protection, also risk and threat assessment to our clients. Our clients are the companies or the individuals that we contract out with and provide services for. And it was in that context.
You know, it's like if you watch THX, the thing that you're wondering the entire time that you're watching the movie is how are these people building the thing that enslaves them? And that's what's going on now. All of these people are building the thing that will enslave the world. And they sit there acting like you're crazy if you talk about that. And then they sit here talking about what the tech will do, illustrating that it will enslave the world. And they think that you're crazy if you talk about what they say it will do. It's just like there is some mass delusion that has happened. People are under a mass delusion. And when you're under a mass delusion, what happens is that you surrender your reasoning faculty. That's why you can't reason with people. That's what I'm saying in this installment here. Like, there's no point in reasoning with people who have surrendered their reasoning faculty. So if people can't reason anymore, it's detrimental to you and to your welfare and to what you're doing to try to reason with people who have lost their reasoning faculty. Now, they still have the faculty, but they've surrendered it, right? It's like they've loaned it out. It's like owned by someone else. And we're going to see this because that's one of the insights in the C.S. Lewis Space Trilogy in Volume 2 in Paralandra. What happens to Professor Weston? He goes from atheist materialist in Volume 1 to, in Volume 2, he's full on possessed, but he's like a new age transhumanist, right? He's got like a Teilhard de Chardin worldview. And the demon speaks through him, right? And when Ransom tries to reason with him, he can't, because the guy has surrendered. His reasoning is enslaved to the spirit that he submits to. He's subservient to what he calls spirit, right? If you've read Paralandra, you know what I'm talking about. And it's like he's the archetype, Professor Weston, the villain, of these people. Why are you building what will enslave you? It's the same. Just when you watch THX, and they're getting like BDSM beat by the robots that they build, and they're like loving it, right? Punish me, right? Donald Pleasance is like flopping around.
Please punish me. I deserve to be punished because I am a bald man that looks like an old baby. Punish me. Slap me. Please. BDSM cop man, right?
Now that was a pretty good Donald Pleasance. Come on, give me props for that. Give me money for that. Pay Piggy me right now. I did the Donald Pleasance. Give me the money. That was the deal. Me and you, audience. I did the Donald Pleasance. You give me the Pay Piggy money. But isn't that the thing when you're watching THX? You're like, why are they building the robots that enslave them? And they all are like, we have to build the robots. We have to. That's what our life is given meaning by building the robots. The robots are going to help us. But meanwhile, they're enslaving you. Again, it's not that technology is bad. It's that everybody who's part of this, moving in this direction, part of the system, believes this stupid delusion that they're going to get immortality. You're not going to get immortality from robots. Zip drives are not going to make you immortal. Okay, that's a genie worldview. You're not going to be downloaded to a zip drive. Even if a zip drive was inside of a lamp, it still would not be. It's not you, dummy.
That I became aware of what I describe as a social engineering program and a research and development program that was being carried out by SIS and our clients in Seattle, the Amazon Corporation. And I later learned that they were indeed experimenting with, when I say experimenting, voice-to-skull, hive mind, behavior modification technology that is frequency-based and directed at a targeted individual to basically control their entire person. Once you have connected
lines of code through, again, a simple REST API, you can get back a meaningful result, and all that happening in real time.
It's a scary proposition to think that every biosignal from us will be one day measured, but if it is, I'd like to know that I'm in control of that data and not the NSA. Oh,
absolutely. No, absolutely. And privacy is extremely important, and there's something called the CEREB standards body that is really focused on ethics and privacy as well.
So everything that's done by this program is meant to have a psychological effect, and the psychological effect is meant to complement the effect that the technology is having on the individual, so that they are brought to a place in their life where they're isolated, they're broke, they're unemployed, they have no family, they have no friends, and nobody in the general public can track or trace anything that's being done to them because the technology is remote and it's wireless, and there's usually no physical signs left on the individual that anything's being done to them.
Well, this sounds like the psychological goal of all of the tech, to atomize and fracture and destroy all society so that it can move into this great reset. That makes perfect sense. So I don't know who that person is, this whistleblower. Always kind of skeptical of so-called whistleblowers, which is the right attitude. Doesn't mean that they're not a whistleblower, just means we have to be skeptical of everything. But that is definitely the intended effect, is to atomize and sort of deconstruct the existing social structures, families, nations, religions. All of that is intended to go away, you see. That's the goal.
Maybe more than any other city, Seattle, Washington seems to represent what America is becoming.
I wish this music would stop. This emotional music is driving me nuts.
They're all based in the city or its suburbs. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, lives there. But along with unfathomable wealth, there is also desperate poverty and widespread degradation. Seattle's homeless population is surging. The city is suffocating under garbage produced by hundreds of homeless camps. Local news broadcasts recently grabbed national headlines by warning that Seattle is dying. The city becomes unlivable for regular families.
Do you think drugs are one of the primary drivers of homelessness?
I think a screen pop up. It accurately predicts how the brain extracts meaning from silent movies.
Okay, I want to get back here. This is what I wanted to get to.
Sort of a karaoke view of a story that people are listening to.
He made holes with the dibber and set the bulbs inside, and he was careful when he patted down the dirt so they wouldn't turn.
Colors show parts of the brain that are active at each point in the story.
Red tends to be parts of the stories that's representing meaning in the stories that is social. Green tends to be the material properties of objects.
Christmas brain. I want a Christmas brain. I'm not sure what this. So this is like DARPA mind reading technology. Okay, so yeah, which I've talked about that for a long time. But even there's mainstream stuff about all of this for years, and you mention this stuff, and people act like this is crazy talk, and it's like, why would you think this is crazy when there's mainstream articles, right? And it's the same people who tell you to follow the mainstream news and narratives, and then you go find it, and they act like it doesn't exist, or you're lying. And then suddenly you shouldn't follow the mainstream narrative, right? Oh, it doesn't mean what you say it means, right? It's not a conspiracy. Well, first you said it didn't exist, and now you're saying it exists, but it's a good thing, right? So which is it?
And the structure of the world. So you can see now we're switching, and you see that the patterns of activity become much more green.
They estimate there are 200.
I never realized the brain looks like a frog. It looks like Pepe. Look, it looks like a little frog bent over. Have you noticed that?
They estimate there.
Look, there's little legs, and he's sort of perched, ready to jump. I got Pepe brain.
200 to 400 modules spread all around the brain where functional thought occurs. 100 to 150 of those are linked to language processing. Red here shows the areas of more brain activity, blue areas of less.
So on the right here, we have some movies that subjects were shown in the magnet.
They're also using the fMRI data to build a mathematical model, or decoder, that accurately predicts how the brain extracts meaning from silent movies.
Here's an ocean scene. You can see it gets fish, you can see it gets water, swimming, ocean floor.
Gallant says practical applications could one day include brain-machine interfaces that would allow communication without speech.
Once we tap into the brain, if we have algorithms that stimulate the right things and give it the right data, we could literally see a screen pop up. We call it hallucinating, right? But these would be controlled hallucinations run by algorithms that would give us everything AR would without any glasses.
Now that's what we read in the Kurzweil book, right? So Ray Kurzweil's book says what that guy just said, that you'll get the overlay via your mind through the nanotech, right? Which will link you to the web or whatever. And that will be kind of an interface between you and the external world. And Ray Kurzweil says, oh, and by the way, this could be a totally dystopian thing whereby they could mind control everybody in the world. Right? So remember the movie Cell. If you've not seen Cell, it always makes me think of that. I wonder if I could get away with a trailer. Surely I could. People comment on trailers all the time. Let's see if this works. So, hold on to your butts, right? Because it has Samuel L. Jackson, right? Have you seen this movie? Not The Cell. Cell. Okay. And I think I did a whole analysis. I did integrate this into one of the Rockfin shows. So we did do a full breakdown of this, I think, at one point. Maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, we did a whole breakdown of this. It's a Stephen King story. It was like a straight to DVD. I don't know if this even came out in theaters, but I never saw it. I don't know how I missed it, but I kind of like this. Like, this is a tell you what's going on kind of movie, right?
Hey, buddy.
I feel like that this is a total revelation of the method type of movie, right? Because doesn't the world just seem different now that there's cell phones and signals everywhere? I mean, to me, it seems very different. It just, something seems different. And I wonder if it is in all these signals everywhere. There was a good documentary that came out about 5 years ago. And it was about being bathed in the signal soup. Angels of the Airwaves. Was that it? No, is that the HARP documentary? There's two different ones. There's one about pollution. Signal pollution. I cannot think of the name of that documentary, but it's really good, and it's about this topic. But they bury a lot of these old documentaries. Have you noticed this? Like all these documentaries that I've seen over the years, and a lot of them you can't find them anymore. Does anybody remember that documentary? Not the HARP documentary. It's another one. It's about signal pollution. It's a really good documentary if you can find it. But then it's like Stephen King just like read, or he just put this in a story, right?
Are you coming home? Yeah, soon. Terrorists. Don't use your cell phone.
So the idea here, this is similar to Kingsman. Remember in Kingsman Part 1, it's Samuel L. Jackson is the tech zillionaire who is using the SIM cards, which emit a signal to drive everybody nuts. And in this movie, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a similar idea, except that it's something else that is driving everyone nuts via signals. Now, in Brzezinski's book, Between Two Ages, he talks about the signals doing this, that EMF, ELF, VLF frequencies at various signatures can do these things. It can calm people and it can agitate, get you all riled up, make you sassy, right? Well, who knows what? I mean, do all kinds of stuff, right?
We're gonna survive this. People are gonna die.
You okay?
Then, of course, they turn this into like a Walking Dead thing, right? Where the signals make everybody zombies. Now, it sounds kind of cheesy, but there is a surprising ending. So there's the trailer. I would recommend, if you've not seen Cell, go watch that. But let's go back to this.
Related to a particular setting, such as image, sound, smell.
So that's all the brain reading technology. I'm going to skip that. Now here we get back to Euthyphro Ferrari, and let's see what he says.
It's not just AI, it's also biology, it's biotech.
The Brain Initiative is a $6 billion fund to find new ways to map the activity of an...
Now keep in mind, the Brain Initiative that Obama put billions of dollars into, that is the Salk Institute. So this is directly all out of Jonas Salk's experimentation stuff, where he talks about human experimentation in his books. So keep in mind that that's what this is.
Higher brain. Leading neuroscientist Professor Raphael Just was at the front of the queue for funding.
We're not talking about data.
Well, he's got a boomer mustache. He must be a nice man. No boomer man with a mustache like that would be a bad person, right?
Privacy. This is much worse. We're talking about the...
I mean, he just looks like everyone's boomer granddad. So how could he be a bad guy?
Contents of your mind.
And maybe I'll explain what it means, the ability to hack humans, to create an algorithm that understands me better than I understand myself, and can therefore manipulate me, enhance me, or replace me.
The goal of the Brain Initiative is precisely to build methods to read and manipulate the activity of neural circuits.
We call it hallucination.
So to manipulate the activity of humans, to control, isn't that what Boomer Mustache Man said?
Hallucinating, right? But these would be controlled hallucinations.
Control hallucinations via signals and nanotech in your head. And people think, does this sound good? You think this sounds like a good thing?
Run by algorithms.
So that when that person goes to speak out about it, when they go to seek help from their fellow human beings, and their fellow human beings say, what is it that's happening to you?
And then takes those algorithms and
all right, I'm gonna skip the TI stuff. I'm sorry, not gonna do the TI stuff.
What the European Union and President Barack Obama want to spend $1 billion to map the brain. You see, once you map the brain, then you can begin to connect the mind to computers.
Monsieur Kaku! Monsieur Kaku!
Elon Musk's latest company, Neuralink, aims to enhance humans by connecting them to computers. DARPA, the research and development arm of the American military, is also at the forefront of this technology. Enough research is now being done on brain...
Hey, I know where you could get a job. Dorka.
computer interfaces that it's time to think hard about their potential implications. The Matrix is imminent.
The researchers work on opposite sides of the campus and through the internet. Rao, the sender, sits in front of a computer game in which he has to defend a city by firing a cannon. Stocko, the receiver.
That guy's face. It's like this is the future Koompod world right there, exemplified in this poor dude's face. Doesn't it look like a great place to go? It's gonna be great, guys. I promise. It's gonna be so based. You're gonna make so much on your cryptos when you're in the Koompod.
With no ability to see the game and his hand positioned over.
So much crypto gains, bro. What are your crypto gains if civilization collapses? Like, what are the crypto gains gonna do if everybody's living in freaking THX hell world? Pinhead doesn't care about your crypto, dude. He has such sites to show you because he lures you in with your crypto gains. And by the way, I'm pro crypto, but they're trying to sell a lot of this crap to people through crypto, you see.
touchpad that will fire the...
By the way, it's key to pick the right cryptos. That's what I'm trying to say, right? The decentralized cryptos like Bitcoin, they all hate it. Klaus, Hillary, Gil Bates, they all hate Bitcoin. They want you to come on over to our central bank Fed coin. It's going to be great. Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. We don't need Bitcoin. We need Fed coin.
Waits for a command directly from Rao's brain.
The research is conducted by the U.S. military's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA.
Whoever made this, Slowboy, if you made this, turn that music down, bro. I can't watch the 40 minutes of that same song. And by the way, I'm notorious for actually doing that. Except that I pick cool songs, not this terrible emotional song.
Which we know too well by these robot videos.
And they're talking about their program restoring active memory. Look at that.
That's old school. Look at David Knight, old school right there.
Acronym, RAM. Does that sound familiar? If you know anything about a computer, it does. RAM is the computer's memory.
I'm a former naval officer. I graduated the United States Naval Academy. I have a degree in control systems engineering. I worked as a surface warfare officer in electronics warfare and nuclear engineering jobs. While I was in the service, I found out there's an ongoing, non-consensual human experiment, and it's testing a human machine.
Now, I have no idea who David Voits is. I don't know if you can verify this, but I mean, is it surprising anybody, human experimentation? I mean, Jamie just did a whole podcast on the history of human experimentation. So, I mean, if anyone would find this outlandish, I mean, it's like the whole history of the 20th century is like scientific experiments on human beings, dude.
Interface was. And of course, part of that program is Obama's BRAIN initiative, a multi-billion-dollar program. DARPA's got a huge chunk of that.
$1 billion to...
All right, I'm gonna skip this. I know about hacking the brain. Among DARPA's potential applications would be to compensate for deficits in sight. Oh, see, they're gonna fix your bad eyesight. Right, you're gonna be able to smell the toots again when DARPA fixes your nose. Just let them in your brain, dude. Everything will be fine if you just let them in your brain.
Research has an end goal of military application. It's not hard to imagine where that could be used.
We've seen chips in the troops for a long time. Now, here's what I wanted to get to, is this guy. And this was some recent, it's either a DARPA or like a Army Navy War College lecture. And this freaked everybody out, but it didn't get a lot of attention. I think Hal Jonas covered it in a couple segments. But did you guys see this guy? This was pretty wild.
Funded by the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories. I'm also funded by the European Union Human Brain Project, specifically the Sub-Project 12, where I'm task leader for dual...
Sub-Project 12? That sounds like a video game thing based on MKUltra, which is a real thing. And then he chose the thing based on the video game MKUltra thing. So I'm part of Sub-Project 12. It's like a Bond villain thing.
Brain science. And I've also done some ongoing work with the Strategic Multi-Level Assessment crew over the past 10 years at the Pentagon, at Dr. Kabayan's group, and with DARPA.
Military agenda is interested on the potential weaponization and misuse of the brain sciences for nefarious agenda, for political, intelligence, and military use.
Okay, so he's saying, oh, we're concerned about this being misused. By who?
Note, this has not been directly addressed, nor has it been entertained by any United States government entity in a public forum. What has gone from the drawing board to the reality is this: the use of neural interfacing and physiological interfacing through the idea of remote-controlled small-scale systems to create a nanoswarm of biopenetrable materials.
Right, and so again, the theme again here is consistently, we can't wait until we get the computers small enough to spray this crap in your face and mind control you. We can't wait. That's what we're eager to get to. Is the tech at that level? I don't have any knowledge of that. I don't know how advanced nanotech is, so I can't tell you that. But they're saying that's the goal. You say
You cannot see that can penetrate all but the most robust biochemical filters that are able to integrate themselves through a variety of membranes, mucous membranes, and wherever, mouth, nose, ears, eyes.
Yeah, but can they get insane in the membrane? That's what I want to know, right? You want to get in the right cloud, You want to be connected to the right cloud. You want to be connected to Be Real's smoke cloud and get insane in the membrane. That's what I'm talking about.
Can be done in such a level
insane in the membrane
that their presence is almost impossible to detect, and as such, the attribution becomes exceedingly difficult to demonstrate. The idea here is to put minimal-sized electrodes in a network within a brain through only minimal intervention.
Yes, please put the electrodes in my brain and save me. I mean, a person willing to do that is gone. Like they're gone, dude. Now, yes, potentially there could be technological uses of these things to help people, right? There is the potentiality of these kinds of technologies for people with Parkinson's. So it's not that there's some inherent problem with, trying to fix areas of the brain that are messed up with technology or what. That's not the point. That's not the problem. The point is the application of these technologies for malicious purposes by powerful entities who have the intention to depopulate. That's the point. And those entities exist, and they publicly say they exist and what they want to do. And they would like to, more than anything, have this kind of technology. In fact, they have spent countless dollars, taxpayer money, going all the way back to John C. Lilly's day, doing this very thing, chips and brains. John C. Lilly writes multiple books about this. Yes, they started with monkeys. He did it with Flipper, right? Effing with Flipper, like he did in every sense of the word. And then he moved on to doing it with humans. LSD, mind control, chips in the brain. John C. Lilly, multiple books on it.
Be able to read and write into the brain function in real time, remotely. And by affecting the way that brain is built and the way it functions, influence in ways that are kinetic and non-kinetic the attitudes, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, activities, and relative vulnerabilities and
So there you go. You just said, remember the video that goes around every year about the target? It's like nobody can verify if it's real or if it's staged. And then it became, oh, that's Gil Bates. And of course it wasn't Gil Bates, but it was like fake news. The video of the DARPA lecture on removing the section of your brain related to God. So, I don't know if it's real. Is it real? And nobody could verify, I forget if it's real. Well, here is another dude doing the same lecture, basically saying all the same stuff. So it's real. Whether that lecture is real, it doesn't even matter because this is real. You understand that MK Ultra was decades of research that produced this. This is the product of the MK Ultra research. Publicly. Declassified. I've read all the books on it. I take that back. I just bought 2 new books that I've not read on this. So I've not read all the books. But 2 Gordon Thomas books I've not yet read. When I read those, I will have read all the books on it. So I'm talking about the public expose books, right? Because the MK Ultra doctors, they all have their own books, which we've covered some of those, but I've not read all those. I've not read every one of Jose Delgado's books. We have Jose Delgado's book here, Physical Control of the Mind. MK Ultra doctor, Dr. Jose Delgado, working for these people, physical control of the mind.
Well, I hope they wouldn't use this for nefarious purposes. The government doesn't lie. They're not going to use it for nefarious purposes. They're doing it to help people. They want to heal people. They're the healing helpers. We're the helping hands.
Positions of those individuals for whom may threaten us. It used to be that I need to be exceedingly close to someone to now influence them with a weapon, and now what we see is we create both distal potential as well as much more capable potential to affect them in a variety of different ways. Take a look. This is the front of my pen. This amount of nanomaterial, if be able to maintain and sustain with regard to its deliverability and aerosolization, could in fact affect all of you. Look at this. Look at this.
Team proposes the creation of nanobots to create Internet of Thoughts, where instant knowledge could be downloaded by thinking. Now, again, I don't think this actually exists. The point is that this is what they're going for, you see. Right? They're trying to get to that point.
I'm parrying that material. You see it? Would I have to lug a giant weapon into the room? No, I wouldn't. And what if, in fact, I utilize some form of an unmanned aerial device or unmanned ground device as a delivery vehicle? Something like a drone or a bug.
I like how these guys always phrase it like the nefarious rogue actors in the world are going to get a hold of this. So we're going to have to study all this, master all this, so that the rogue actors don't get a hold of this. As if they're not the rogue actors, or as if they don't run the rogue actor groups that would do this, you see.
Could I do something with that? The answer is increasingly yes.
Well, there you go. Here you go. This is what every one of the global elites text that's a text about recent stuff. Jacques Attali, Kurzweil, the DARPA stuff. They all talk about this. Oh, well, when we get the nanotech in your head, you see, then we can wirelessly connect you to the internet and we can download and upload your thoughts. I mean, the movie Cell is telling you what this is. And it's even telling you the spiritual source of this, right? I mean, it's not like Stephen King is like some kind of hero, right? I mean, he's making that film is made as revelation of the method, I think. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's telling you the spiritual source, aka you know who, from which this whole movement has its ethos and its purpose.
Not a month goes by where I don't get a call at my institute by someone telling me that someone in the government implanted these things in their brain without them knowing. I'm not kidding.
See,
Wait, he said that he gets a call from people in the government saying that they think the government has put this in them without them knowing? Was that same angry looking boomer dude?
This is the front of my pen.
Looks like it.
This amount of nanomaterial, if be able to maintain it increasingly, yes. Not a month goes by where I don't get a call at my institute by someone telling me that someone in the government implanted these things in their brain without them knowing. I'm not kidding.
See, nanocells are real.
Every month he gets that phone call? What?
1,000 times smaller than these dust particulates.
Oh yeah, I remember in Gamer, Jamie and I covered Gamer, where he does this to Gerard Butler. And we covered the nanobots in that as well.
You inhale it, they go to work replicating, spreading like a virus, multiplying in exponentials. 6 months' time, I could have 100 million people converted, ditch diggers, porn stars, and presidents. Not one would be the wiser. 100 million people who buy what I want them to buy and do pretty much damn well anything I figure they ought to do.
I gained a lot of contacts in the global intelligence
by chopping out many of them, or adding kind of chaff, cover. You can make that much of a difference, and increasingly it's less. And in terms of the Internet of Things, there's research prototypes now, which I assume are being used by intelligence agencies, of very small electronic circuits that you can just put in paper or put paint on the walls that are powered by the GSM stations.
I can barely tell what Assange is talking about there, but it sounds like this is saying that he was arrested right after this interview where he's talking about nanotech. It's hard to hear what he's talking about though. There's no captions.
And they operate as the GSM radio wave passes through them. That gives them enough power for a very small amount of time to do things. So obviously that tendency is going to continue. It's not like the Internet of Things. It's if you like, intelligent evil dust.
Oh, so he's talking about smart dust. He's saying that they want to create smart dust, intelligent evil dust. And then he was soon arrested after this. Well, I think he's arrested for many reasons, but I mean, this could definitely be part of the reasons.
Scattered everywhere, like confetti in everything. So I think it's increasingly hard for human beings to work out how to deal with that.
Dr. Robert Duncan.
All right, the music's driving me nuts. I can't watch any more of this. So if you want to watch the rest of that little mini doc, head on over to Slowboy Whiteboard, and it's right here. And it's nanobots, CIA, DARPA, MKUltra. And then this one I thought looked interesting too, this little brief video here, which we'll close out with this, and we'll do the super chats. But the reason I'm doing this one is that it looked, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but it looks good in the sense of vindicating what we were talking about last time with the small handful of corporations that end up running everything, right? And we talked about that Swedish dude's study. I don't know if this video will reference that, but let's see if it comes up, because this is Forbidden Knowledge TV. Nice dude. He had me on a couple years ago, so he does a lot of the kind of stuff, which I don't do, but nice guy. But this looked like a good video, so let's see if this is vindicating what I was getting at last week.
Dear fellow human, I think by now you're sensing that something does not seem right.
Okay, I don't want to hear the lecture. Just get to the videos. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So Vanguard BlackRock comes up. Here's this full documentary too. If you want to watch this, I'll give you the link to it right there.
Let's remember them and look up who owns the most stocks of the Coca-Cola company, the biggest competitor of Pepsi.
So she's just looking up the major shareholders of Coke and Pepsi to illustrate this point here.
The biggest lump of stock is again owned by institutional investors. Let's look at the top 10 and start at the bottom 6 of them. 4 of these institutional investors we also saw at the bottom 6 of PepsiCo. These are Northern Trust, JP Morgan Chase, Geode Capital Management and Wellington Management. Now let's look at the 4 biggest stock owners. They are BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street. These are the world's biggest investment firms, so PepsiCo and Coca-Cola are not competitors at all. The other big companies that own a myriad of brand names.
Now, the reason we're looking at this is that this is going to show you why there's a coordination of agenda across the Fortune 500/100. Something that I've talked about for a long, long time, over and over and over. And it illustrates the stupidity of thinking that the divide is between communism and capitalism. Okay, that's totally not, you're not even in the ballpark. That's what you think.
Like Unilever, Mondelez and Nestlé are from the same small group of investors. But it's not only in the food industry that their names come up. Let's find out on Wikipedia which are the biggest tech companies.
By the way, something just occurred to me too. Like people go, what's the solution? What's the solution? You don't have a solution. Well, here is a potential solution. Think about this. So if all of these companies and their assets presently are denominated in dollars, right? These are the company, the world's reserve currency right now is dollars. All of these gigantic megacorps and holding companies are still denominated in dollars. If we were to have any chance at all of getting ahead of the game in regard to potential global challenges to that system, which is run on a kind of economics of debt and scam, right? The whole global economy is run on bubbles, debt, scam, etc. Everything. It's all scam. what is the one potential challenger contender to a system presently based on fiat dollars? There's only one thing. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about in a spiritual sense. Yes, the church and all that. No. But in terms of this world, there's only one thing that even comes close as a potential challenger to all of that stuff, if that stuff is denominated in dollars. And yes, some of those holding companies do have what I'm talking about. So we can't, it's not totally going to be front run. But if we wanted to have a chance, what can you guys guess might be the challenge to that? Not only is it a challenge to the Fortune 100, Fortune 500, it's also a challenge to the dollar. It's not gold. It's an even harder asset than gold. Yes, exactly. So think about this. Imagine you have a $1 billion thing denominated in dollars. Your purchase, the value of what you have in your $1 billion company or whatever it is losing value at 15 to 20% each year. What can you do to maintain your megacorp's value? You can do all kinds of schemes to get more government money, more tax breaks, schemes and scams to get more. But what are you doing in this whole equation that doesn't make sense? You're obtaining more of the fake money. Give me more of the fake money, more fake money, more. And yeah, you can buy assets which have value, and those will always have value. But if it's all still denominated in dollars, even the assets, losing value. There's only one thing that even comes close to potentially challenging all this stuff. And it's not perfect. It's not silver bullet. But that's Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin becomes the world reserve currency based on the fact that it's the hardest asset and it is the store of value, and even other cryptos can be based on Bitcoin, like Terra Luna is doing, as a stable coin basing itself on Bitcoin, which was kind of ingenious. Then Bitcoin and perhaps a stable coin like Terra Luna would be in, if people figure this out. Now, people may not figure this out. I'm not saying that this will happen. It may be the case that somehow the global elites just wage a 10-year war on Bitcoin. Right? But they're late to the game and they missed that. So now they're trying to figure out ways not to co-opt or destroy Bitcoin, but to get people to get into crypto and they're going to act like Bitcoin is cool. Then they're going to try to move everybody to the Fed coin, to the CBDC, to get you into an electronic version of the dollar. In other words, a fiat crypto. And most of the cryptos are fiat. Not all of them. Many of them are. Okay. Bitcoin is not. If Ethereum moves to deflationary success in a deflationary model in a successful way, it will not be. Terra Luna's burn model is supposed to not be inflationary. So there are some cryptos that have that non-inflation deflationary model. Many of the centralized cryptos are not that model. And so there's a trade-off, right? Like, oh, it's going to be cheaper transactions and much faster. Yeah, but you're also giving away security, encryption, dangers, and centralization. Meaning they could delete you, shut you off. The whole thing could collapse when the CEO collapses, right? Something like that, right? That's the dangers of the centralized model and system. So the point is that I'm trying to make is you could potentially, this is a chance, I think, you could front run all of Megacorp Because Megacorp is just now figuring out what Bitcoin is and what it can do and can be. Doesn't mean it will. I don't know. I can't tell you what to do with your money. But Megacorp is losing its value by being based on dollars. And if they figure that out, and look at all the money printing this year, look at what happened with quantitative easing, look at what happened with the trillions of bailout for COOF, and now that's all hitting everybody with inflation. And Bitcoin is a harder asset than gold, and it has all kinds of upsides that gold doesn't have. I'm sorry, but lugging around big chunks and treasure chests of gold like a freaking pirate does not have a lot of utility. Gold is great, but I mean, it's 2022, dude. It's not 1500. You're not Jack Sparrow. And Bitcoin is superior to gold. So, do you see what I'm saying? If you get the logic of that, then what these evil people will eventually figure out, if they want to stay in the game, is that they need to buy Bitcoin. And I think a couple of these holding companies have figured that out. I think BlackRock does hold some Bitcoin now. But that's why I think probably why Michael Saylor was trying to front run and get ahead of all that with what all he did in the last 2 years, right? That would be my guess. But if I can't see how it would go any other way. What is the competitor? Because how are they going to convince everybody to get on a central bank digital currency, which will be fiat and a big scam, and nobody even will want that? They won't be able to totally shut down Bitcoin. I mean, aside from like just destroying the entire internet, maybe. But how are you going to have the New World Order if you destroy the internet? You see, that's not going to work. You might have outages or war games or shut things down for a period. But the whole system that they're building for Skynet is premised on there being an internet. So they're not going to destroy the internet, like some idiots are constantly telling me. Well, how good's your Bitcoin going to be when they destroy the internet? Well, they destroy the internet, there won't be a New World Order, dummy. How's there going to be Skynet with no internet? It's just idiotic, right? So to be ahead of the game, it would be wise to choose the potential challenges. It's not a silver bullet. I can't guarantee you that any of this stuff will work. I don't know. But it seems logical to me that if all this stuff is denominated in dollars, it's a giant black hole that Megacorp is losing all of its money to. And that's Michael Saylor's whole argument, is like, as a corp owner, I realize that I can't store value in the dollar. It's a scam. It's losing so much value every year. It's crazy. So they're going to drive the dollar into the ground, especially when the goobers and creepers that run our country, right? And we know that inflation is just long-term theft. It's just stealing from future generations' wealth and value by energy consumption. Energy vampirism is what it is. So there's not that many options, right? I mean, what's the only potential competitor? And a lot of these people haven't figured this out yet because they're just evil degenerates. So how do you argue against that? What's the argument against that? They can still figure out your Bitcoin. They can figure out your gold. They can figure out anything if they want to. But if enough people joined the network, do you see how that would be a good thing? Does that make sense? Anyway.
Facebook is the owner of WhatsApp and Instagram. Together with Twitter, they form the most popular social media platforms. Alphabet is the parent of all Google companies like YouTube and Gmail. But they are also the biggest investor in Android.
No, actually, the Bible does say quite a bit about economics and economic theory, and the Orthodox Church has quite a bit to say about economics and economic theory, especially the universal banning of usury, for example, in the first 1,000 years of Christianity. So, no, that's not the case. It is not the case that the Bible does not have much to say about economics. It's simply not true.
It's one of the 2 operating systems for nearly all smartphones and tablets. The other operating system is Apple's iOS. If we add Microsoft to the above 3, we see 4 companies making the software for nearly all computers, tablets and smartphones in the world. Let's see who are the biggest shareholders of these companies. Take Facebook. We see that 80% of the stock is owned by institutional investors. These are the same names that came up in the food industry. The same investors are in the top 3.
There you go. You see the point? And this is what that Swedish study was noticing 10 years ago.
Next is Twitter. It forms with Facebook and Instagram the top 3.
All right, now I'm going to skip ahead because we all know this. So let's get to the other areas of like
Expedia. Both are from the
society.
same small group of investors. We fly with one of the many airlines, many of which are in the hands of the same investors and of governments, as is the case with Air France-KLM. The plane we board is in most cases a Boeing or an Airbus, also owned by the same names. We book through Booking.com or Airbnb, and when we arrive we go out for dinner and place a comment on TripAdvisor. The same big investors show up in every aspect of our trip. And their power is even bigger because of the kerosene is from their oil companies or refineries. The steel from which the plane is made comes from their mining companies. This small group of investment firms and funds and banks are namely also the biggest investors in the industry that dig for raw materials. Wikipedia shows that the biggest mining companies have the same big investors that we see everywhere.
So they're basically buying up everything, right? I mean, that's the point here. The shareholders of all these big oil are the top holding companies, right? So this is why there's a continuity of agenda across these corporations throughout the world.
Of the same companies. They own the tobacco companies that produce all the popular tobacco brands. But they also own all big pharmaceutical companies and the scientific institutions that produce medicine.
Did you see that? They're the controlling shareholders in all of these things. So, are you starting to understand what's going on? This is not rocket science. It's not hard to figure this out.
They own the companies that produce our metals and also the entire car, plane and weapon industry, where a great deal of the metals and raw materials are used. They own the companies that build our electronics, they own the big warehouses and online markets, and even the means of payment we use to buy their products.
So here you have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 20, 25 holding companies.
In turn, they themselves are owned by shareholders.
And they are owned by the shareholders, you see.
And the most surprising thing is that they own each other's stocks.
And they own each other. You see that?
Together they form an immense network comparable to a pyramid. The smaller investors are owned by
What? What? Pyramid? There you go.
larger investors. Those are owned by even bigger investors. The visible top of this pyramid shows only 2 companies whose names we have often seen by now. They are Vanguard and BlackRock. The power of these 2 companies is beyond your imagination. Not only do they own a large part of the stocks of nearly all big companies, but also the stocks of the investors in those companies. This gives them a complete monopoly. A Bloomberg report states that both these companies in the year 2028 together will have investments in the amount of $20 trillion.
Do you see that? Do you see what that says?
That means that they will own almost anything. Bloomberg calls BlackRock the 4th branch of government because it's the only private agency that closely works with the central banks.
There you go. And the Federal Reserve is a private bank. Who do you think owns controlling shares in the private Federal Reserve banks? I wonder who.
BlackRock lends money to the central bank, but it's also the advisor. It also develops software the central bank uses. Many BlackRock employees were in the White House with Bush and Obama. Its CEO Larry Fink can count on a warm welcome from leaders and politicians. Not so strange if you know that he is the frontman of the ruling company. We see that they have always been the wealthiest. All
right. Again, if you want to watch this full documentary on the controlling shareholders, you can go to Forbidden Knowledge right there. It's the full documentary. But I just want to kind of give you a sample of it. You get the point. Amanda says for $5, what contradiction arises if you reject the triadic nature of reality? Well, the transcendental argument is intended to show the contradiction involved in not grounding your worldview in the Trinity as a personal God. So the contradiction arises in that you can't ground the laws of logic in anything. And if you can't ground the laws of logic, then you have the metalogical question or problem of how do we know logic works or is logical? So that's why it points to tag. I'm asking this in the context of tag. Amanda says, yeah, exactly. Synthwave Enjoyer, $4. Thank you. Much appreciated. Ken Dreamer. I wonder if that's his real name. Ken Dreamer. Hey, Jay, keep doing what you do. Quick question. What do you think about the idea of WW3 or the U.S. breaking into independent states? Anything's possible. I have no idea. I certainly hope we're not going into World War III. A lot of people think it could be. But let's hope that it doesn't come to that. I want to remind you guys, too, that my show sponsor is, of course, the one, the only, the most based, most organic, most toxic masculine company out there, choq.com, CHOQ.com. This is the only place to get that Tonkat Ali, to get that ashwagandha, to get that daily, to get all of your supplement needs that help you to have a well-rounded diet, to have a healthy, optimal, nutrient-dense diet. A lot of our food, a lot of our soils are deficient in nutrients, in minerals. And so the way that we make up for that, given that sad state of affairs, is by things like Irish moss, by things like the too legit to quit. She legit. Is she legit? Oh, she legit. All right. Get that daily if you want the overall approach to this question, right? If you're looking for energy, you want that Action 2.0. And they have stacks over there, meaning that you can order a grouping for men or for women, right? Fitted to your physiognomy, if you know what I mean. So head on over to choq.com, CHOQ.com, CHOQ.com. And the way that you get 50% off any of their products is to put in the promo code JAY50. That's JAY50. J50 JAY50 gives you that promo code. Now I got to go do an interview with Maria Z. So I got to let you guys go when we get through the super chats, but head on over to choq.com. Valentine, thank you for all that you do, Jay, and for your musical brilliance. Finally, somebody recognizes what's up. Pay Piggy is the anthem for 2022. Pay Piggy. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I look forward to getting signed copies of your book. Well, thank you. Valentine, you get those at jaysanalysis.com. In the shop, Palantir, $3. I have a question about Genesis. Is there an explanation for predators on the ark, why they didn't eat the other animals? I think they could have kept them separated within the ark. I don't think they had to all be like in an open space, right? So probably something simple like that. Were they hibernating? I don't know. Could be. Were angels and demons immaterial, or can they take material form? I don't know. The different saints have different views on this, but it seems to me that they are bodiless beings, the liturgy says, who can take on physical form. What are the mechanics? I don't know. We don't know the mechanics of angels. Palantir, $3. What about justification, a theological concept in the Western view? Okay, so go to the penal substitution view at Cobain's channel. So Cobain, penal substitution. Watch his video on that. That will help you. There's a 10-minute video. He did this really good. Kristen, $5. Thank you for all the props. Your whiteboard channel. Yes, exactly. I don't know who Kristen is, but Slow Boy Whiteboard, keeping it real over there. Palantir, $3. Final question. Help me understand firmament in Genesis. I would say read John Damascus's On the Orthodox Faith, and he will give you the explanation of firmament, I think, in the first chapter. It doesn't have anything to do with flat earth. K.R. Barnog, $5. Did you ever mention about the OCA and its potential compromising situations with the government in the past? I have mentioned that many times over the years. So I'm not saying everybody in the OCA is evil, but everybody knows that the OCA was basically set up during the Cold War to be a kind of back channel for the CIA to Moscow, to have discussions, whatever, people defect. So that's the whole history of the OCA, and that's a secret. That's pretty well known. Stormbridge, $50. Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Sohui Park, $10. Thank you so much. Well, Emmanuel, $10. I thought I was open-minded. Even after hearing someone I trusted mention flat earth, I dismissed it. Without claiming to know the truth, I have been humbled by making me recognize a lot of science lies that I believed. Okay, well, a lot of people ask me this question. They're like, oh, you don't believe in flat earth? You believe we're on a ball flying a million zillion? I don't have any view on this, actually. I do not believe the official narratives, and I do not believe flat earth. I do not have a position. I don't know the physics of what is going on. Because there are so many lies, I am in a position of agnosis on this issue. And I have watched many, many debates, many arguments about flat earth. I think they're all goofy. I don't find them convincing. And don't put me into the false either or non sequitur that if I don't believe in flat earth, then therefore I believe in what NASA says. No, I don't. I think NASA is a goofy thing. So I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. I don't claim to be a physics man, a astronomy man, or anything like that, or a biology man. So don't come to me with your physics, astronomy, biology questions, because those aren't my fields. I'm sorry. I'm not talking to you, well, Emmanuel. I appreciate your super chat. All right. Thank you, guys. Going to go be with Maria Z, and hopefully we'll have a good discussion about the World Economic Forum. If you would hit like and share, hope you enjoyed this fun stream tonight. God bless.